for you personally, what were some of your goals heading into the scene from an individual standpoint that you wanted to be able to work on to be able to elevate your game? And have you been able to do that so far?
Yeah, so I really had two goals going into the season. One is just making sure that I'm consistent, making plays each and every game, doing what I'm supposed to do each and every game. Just I set the standard going in my 10th, 11th, and now in my 12th grade year, so it's just following the standard. Just reading my keys and just not making like stupid amateur mistakes because it's my senior year. So I've been on that track. I've been doing great, leading my team to 6-1 right now. And the second goal was, of course, the state championship. I was, blessed to be able to be committed before the season, had offers from everybody in the country. But now it's more about non-personal stuff, state championship, making sure that in February that my other guys have a whole full table of people signing. It's just that type of thing that I'm focused on instead of like the personal stuff.
I'm glad you brought it back to that, right? Because you might not even realize it, but just going from a question like that and talking about some of your personal goals and bring it back from a team standpoint, it's important because think about how free you've been able to probably be this year from a mental standpoint. You're not worrying about, okay, and I'm sure, and we can talk about it in a little bit, I'm sure there's some schools that maybe are still trying to reach out to you to see, okay, hey, I know you're not committed yet because it's obviously verbal until the first week of December. But I'm sure it's more of in your control. Do you feel like you're just going out there and you're able to just play now? And
Absolutely.
Have you noticed a difference?
Absolutely. That's the biggest reason why I committed over the summer is I wanted to make sure that I was able to actually like focus on my team 100%. I didn't have to take visits on top of visits and try to use my phone as a constant landline between thousands of coaches each and every night after practice. So I'm glad to be able to shut it down and actually like focus on my team.
You mentioned the way your team's playing right now. How enjoyable is that? Because obviously you have dreams and aspirations of playing at the next level. You're going to be playing in the SEC at South Carolina. But, I mean, high school football is special, man. I don't care what level of college you play, whether it be D1, D2, D3. College football is a lot of fun. And anyone that's played it can tell you some of the most fond memories that I have were playing college ball. But at the same time, too, high school ball is just special. How special has this season been to be able to enjoy it with your guys, knowing that, hey, look, there's a dream in front of me of being able to play college ball, but I want to live in the moment right now.
Absolutely. So most days it's heaven. I've been at the same high school all 4 years. I was 3-7 my freshman year, and now we're 6-1 going on my senior year. We were able to make the playoffs when we got my new head coach. He came here going into my 10th grade year. I was able to be part of the team that was able to get him his victory against his old high school 2 years in a row. Overtime win this year. And I mean, we're just dominating and just being the team that we're supposed to be. Everybody's looking good. Been leading our defense to averaging about 7 points scored on us per game this year. So we're rolling. And then the other days it's hard sometimes. You got to lead each and every day, all that good stuff. But I mean, I love my team, and I wouldn't ask for a better team to be a part of.
Shout out to Wes Mitchell over at Gamecock Central, showing some love for Pup. Also going to have intern Joe hop on here in a minute because I know he's got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Pup, I feel like you and Dante, and I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your behind, but I mean, it seems like you guys are well beyond your years. And I think being able to ask a question to you like this, like I asked Dante last week, it helps this fan base understand things a little, just helps them understand a little bit better, right? And I know that you don't speak for every recruit, but for you personally, look, the highs and lows, and you get it from playing high school football. It's going to be obviously a little bit different playing in the SEC because there's more eyes. More eyes means more voices.
Yes,
when there's highs and lows on social media about the team and this and that, for you personally, do you even pay attention to that? And the reason I bring that up is because I think some fans get so concerned sometimes about seeing what Johnny 36444 has to say about the game. They get worried sometimes about a recruit. But at the end of the day, does that really bother you? Or do you just look at it as, you know what, that's just the passionate fan base, and that just comes with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't look at it like that. I see a lot of recruits posting, they'll screenshot a message that they got from a fan or whatever and post it on Twitter and stuff. Um, one that fan probably has never played football in their life. Like you don't focus on that stuff. They're just passionate fans. You know, some of these people have been fans for decades. Their parents, their grandparents were fans. So somebody's always gonna have something to say, but you know, you just focus on the task at hand and just focus on that, and everything's gonna play out.
And I can tell you right now, being back up here doing the double duty right now this fall, covering the Patriots, they're on a 2-game win streak, and I can tell you, I mean, I can go back to the Brady days when they were winning Super Bowls, man. I mean, every Monday there's someone was upset about something, so it doesn't matter where you are. So I bring that up though because it's not to bash South Carolina fans; it's to show you that this happens everywhere, and it's just trying to give a perspective from a recruit. Because I can sit here and tell you but it's good to be able to hear you say it directly because I think some of these fans, it makes them feel a little bit better. I'm sure some will get still nervous a little bit. I get it. They'll be like, you know, what good does this do the program?
Yeah. So like if I was like getting recruited by a school and I looked at somebody say, oh well, he's not good, we don't want him anyway, that's not going to affect my decision. And if the recruit really likes the school, that's not going to affect the decision at all. Like I said, a lot of recruits get sidetracked by that, and sometimes, but it's the goal at hand, the task at hand.
And you know what? 90% of the times, if that's the case, you probably don't want the player at that school anyway. If they're worried about their feelings or whatever, you know, and
because let them make one bad play on Saturday, and then a lot more people, and then it's gonna be bad.
It's like dating a girl. If you're already looking for reasons to get upset, right? Yeah. Just the way she eats her food or whatever. I mean, it's just anyway. Probably shouldn't be dating her to begin with. You know, if you're already looking for a reason. I'm going to throw intern Joe in right now because I know you got a question for Pup.
Yeah, Pup. First off, I love the nickname because like it proves you have that dog in you. But Pup, man. So like obviously, like I saw a couple comments about it. We're seeing it all on your Twitter. How much are you recruiting other guys, and how much are you texting, kind of getting other guys to maybe flip or just give a hard commit?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of talent in the 23 class. It's a lot of talent that shouldn't be playing against us. That's 100%. And it's a lot of guys out there that I know are like they're good on the field, but moreover they're good people. And I know that's what we need at South Carolina. So it's a lot of guys that are recruiting a lot of different positions. But like we have a great 23 class right now. So I'm really excited about what we're gonna have.
Absolutely.
What's that process like though? Because we talked with Dante, right? It's not like it's the summer. And I'm not saying you were sitting by the pool each day having a pina colada, virgin pina colada at that, because I know you're under 21. But the point being is, I know that's a little bit freer in the summer. Now you have schoolwork, you got football. What's the? I mean, I'm sure it varies. I'm not asking you to say, okay, when you wake up at 6 o'clock, what's it every day? But how do you balance that? Because I'm sure it's a little bit different in terms of trying to have that communication, or at least consistent communication with some of these other recruits.
So the good thing about me is I'm an early enrollee, so I really don't have much work this year. But like the good thing about a cell phone is it's always on. So I usually hit up the person on Twitter at first, catch up with him, watch his film, get to know him a little bit. They'll ask for his number. We'll talk sometimes on the phone, all that good stuff, build a relationship, and I'll let him know just come to the game. Because when we get in person, we're gonna really click, and he's gonna love the atmosphere that we have in South Carolina. For example, Nick. So before I actually met Nick at South Carolina, I've never knew Nick.
Nick Harbor, for anyone that is missing that part of it, I think 90% of the fan base knows, but just in case anyone's wondering who Nick is.
Yeah. So it was it was over the summer. I know that, so it had to be my OV. Well, me and Nick clicked like automatically, and then we've been best friends ever since. So me and him all talk all the time and all that good stuff. But it's really like we're high school athletes, we're high school kids, so we relate in a lot of ways. And once you get that connection, it's easy.
There are some questions coming in. I'm going to pull those up in a minute. And what I'll do as well, Joe, we're going to throw that number up there in case anyone wants to call into the program to ask Pup a question. But before I go into this, because Travis, I see you have a question there. You mentioned just the crowd. I asked Dante this question last week, and I know you were there. I spoke with another recruit. I told him I wouldn't put his name out there publicly because he asked me not to. But I want to ask you your perspective of this because, after that Georgia game, obviously Georgia had a good day. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. Georgia had a good day, and people were leaving in the stands. That happens sometimes. But I'm bringing that up because one of the recruits that had a conversation with me said they looked at that saying that's motivating them for when they go to USC to be able to give them a reason to stay in the stands because they know what that atmosphere was like for the majority of the first quarter. And obviously until things start getting out of hand. But I bring that up though, Pup, because I'm sure that there's a portion of the fan base, Nicholas Harbor comes, you want to put your best foot forward, and they see stuff like that and they get nervous a little bit. And again, I know you're not speaking directly for Nick, but just as a recruit in general, and I know you can only speak for yourself, but whether it be just the vibe you got from a player like him or just the guys that you were around that day, do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I absolutely think that, seeing that, it might, give you the impression that, of course, you want to turn things around. I don't think I don't see it in like a negative light. You just got to play better, straight like that. You want fans to stay, you just got to play better. And it comes down to that. I know it was a bunch of commits there. Nick being with me, it was me, Nick, Tree, all hanging out. Cam was also there. We were just chatting up all this good stuff. Nick was having a ball. The score came out pretty quickly, but it was just glad to be there. But it just comes down to playing better. You see fans leaving, you just got to play better.
I'm going to put that number up there if anyone wants to call in while we have Pup, because I don't want to hold Pup too long. And then, of course, we have Monday Night Football tonight. So we all want to watch some football tonight. If you want to call into the program, here is your number, 803-567-7396. Give intern Joe something to do. He's trying to stay busy over there. So let's keep intern Joe busy. I'm going to pull up one of the questions that Travis had. I'm trying to find it. Here we go, Travis. And the question is, Pup, who would be the biggest influence on your play style?
Oh, that's a good one. All right. So I think I am the biggest fan of Micah Parsons. Going into my 11th grade year, and can still now, I'll watch hours and hours of his game film at Penn State. Versatility. He's 6'3", 240. Being able to move 4'3", being able to play in space, stop the run, rush the edge. He's a new age linebacker, and he's who I model my game after.
Do you feel that too? I know it's funny for me to say that because I felt like, when I was going through college, that hybrid position was starting to come up. The 4-2-5 was really growing, and now it feels like every team's doing it. Absolutely. But do you feel like that's probably something that's already going on with a lot of high schools now, but it's just funny to see it just evolve over the last, I'd say, decade or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a speed game now, so it's the fastest and the strongest.
And how do you feel like from a training standpoint? Because you're trying to get big, but would you say speed's more important now than ever?
I think,
how do you try to balance that? Because I'm sure you want to get bigger, but if you get too big too fast, that speed's going to be down. You know what I mean? Trying to get that balance.
So I think it just depends on who you have training you. As long as you do it the right way. For example, during the off season, we lifted heavy in the weight room, and then we'll condition right after. So going through that phase, I was putting on weight fast, and I was still moving. So I put on, since last year, I finished the season at 205 my 11th grade year. I'm 230 now. So being able to just keep the same speed, I'm faster, but keeping weight and my speed up, it's easy as long as you have the right people helping you and you're doing it the right way.
Do you have a kind of a target goal of what would you like at least to have going into USC?
I'm not sure yet. I feel great now. Of course, when I get there, I'll be with Coach Day and I'll be with Chris.
We'll put muscle on you, man. And you probably have already heard this. There's always a way to be able to put 10 pounds of muscle right in those legs. That's the first thing. You can always put, and that's the most important part.
Absolutely.
So that's, if anyone else has a question, let us know. I got intern Joe still here. I don't know how much you've been able to pay attention to South Carolina this year. I'm sure you're paying attention as the best you can. Yeah. But just to see them be able to turn things around and just being able to have as much fun as they did against Kentucky. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, what is just your vibe when you talk to some of these other players? Maybe guys that are still on the fence of going to South Carolina, but the way they view that, because I tell Gamecock fans this, whether it be on Gamecock Central's message board, whether it be just, I don't see him in person as much. Spoiler, I will be down in South Carolina this weekend, guys. But I say that because some people get so concerned about, people are trolling Beamer or this or that. It's just like, goes back to what Reggie Jackson used to say. Fans don't boo nobodies. I feel like it's always a good thing if people are talking, but just your sense of what some of these other recruits, how they perceive Beamer and just what's going on over there.
Yeah, the biggest thing I sell is it's a family feel, and Coach Beamer is a player's coach. I mean, everybody agrees with that. Everybody loves Coach Beamer. And then after the Kentucky game, just the first play from defense, just making a play. You can't sell that to a defensive player. Just knowing that you just got to have the right people at the right place at the right time with the right head coach, and magic is going to happen. So I sell that. I mean, we played a good game against Kentucky. I mean, we're 4-2 right now, and we lost to two pretty good teams. And then Arkansas, 14 points, lost by 14 points. And you just got to have the right people that's going to want to play. And I mean, like I said, we have a great class, and I just sell that to the recruits, and everybody I'm talking to is buying it, and everybody that I'm talking to is loving it. So.
I know there's a couple players who I could bring up. Well, I'm just going to bring up one in particular. What would it look like with Pup Howard and Nicky Manwari on the same field from a defensive standpoint? Seeing what this young man's doing as a freshman.
It's crazy because me and Nick are tight, real close. So we
really?
met. We met last season when I was on a visit. I want to say it was either the Kentucky game or the Clemson game. So we were sitting it was halftime. We were sitting at the table, and Nick came over and sat by me. Then we just started talking and catching up and all this good stuff. And we've been close ever since. Every time I go up to South Carolina, I say what's up. He was my host for my OV. And Nick actually was a big reason why I decided that I need to that was home. Just being around Nick and knowing how hungry he is, and he just wants to get better and play. I wouldn't ask for a better teammate than that. So we spent the weekend having fun and all that good stuff. We did we was competing all weekend. We did bowling, Jenga at Coach Beamer's house. We did everything. So we were just competing all that good stuff. But I mean, we're gonna play good together. I know that for a fact. The good thing about when I get there is Nick wouldn't have to make 21 tackles a game because I'll be making all the tackles for him. But just knowing that behind you, that you have somebody, not only a great player, but a great person, just makes you play harder. And that brotherhood is going to take us farther than no other.
See a question from Michael. We'll have that one popped up in just a little bit. You talk about bowling, man. I mean, we got Corey Rucker. He showed up on his official visit with a bowling ball. So I've seen Corey go to the lanes a couple times. I've got into the bowling game before I left to get back up to Boston for a little bit. But okay. I do want to bring this up before I think Michael has a question. I'll get to Mike. The other Michael has a question. But being down in Jacksonville, Florida, I know I know people in South Carolina are going to get upset with me when I say this, but I know you're from the South, if you will. I mean, I know some people are going to get upset. They don't want to call Jacksonville the South. I get that. Okay. I'm a dumb Yankee. You can just blame it on me. Right. But I say that, have you been able to kind of find any fixings food wise in Columbia?
Oh yeah. So I always eat at Maurice's. I know a lot of people told me a lot of good places to eat, but my coach, Coach Bubba, brings me to Maurice's, and I mean, I love Maurice's, so that's what I eat all the time. And if it's so good, like why stop?
It is so good. Like, it is so good. Yeah. I'm impressed, Paul. That's a spot, man, for barbecue.
I got a confession. I've never been to Maurice's. 6 years in South Carolina, never been.
You have to have it. You have to. They're hush puppies, like they're the best puppies I've ever had.
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two of my favorite barbecue places, and if anyone has some on the side, True Barbecue. Michael says two of my favorite. One, the Ultimate Tailgaters, and you're gonna be able to get to know him if you haven't already. Chris Fulmer. He's gone to, and I should know the number off the top of my head right now. I don't. He's been to over, goodness, 440 something straight Gamecock football games in a row. But he will do some of the catering for Gamecock football. He makes some of the best baked beans I've ever had in my life. But another good place is Railroad Barbecue, which is not too far between Allen and Benedict. Fairly new.
The place is
good
legit.
brisket.
Yeah,
I'm trying those spots out.
Yeah, it's so good.
Brisket. I do want to bring this up. Michael says, and I know you can't. I know you don't want to spoil. You might know some things that you don't want to say. You know, over at Gamecock Central, we hear things too, and we don't want to spoil anyone's parade.
Absolutely.
So if you can't answer this question, which is, I was thinking about. Oops, wrong one. I saw Michael pop up twice. Sorry, Michael. I'll pull up your other one, but I was thinking about him and Nick. That's a good one, Mike. Here's the other question from Mike. Sorry, Mike, wrong one. Who are you hoping? Who you hope commits next to the Gamecocks? You might know things, and I don't want you to ruin anyone's parade.
Absolutely.
So if you can't answer that, are we getting warmer on a couple more players? I mean, whatever way you want to word it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go ahead and say my biggest project is Nick Harbor. Me and him are so close, and he's a great person, great player, and he has a great family. So I wouldn't ask for a better addition to this commit class in Nick Harbor. But I've been talking to a couple other players. Some committed, some not. So don't want to disclose that for them. But we have a lot of good players that we're hoping to add to it. Like I said, we have a great 23 class as is, but it's always great to keep improving.
You were here for the Georgia game. Do you have any other plans of coming on down here? I don't know if there's any conflicts with high school games. I know Dante plays a lot of games on Saturdays, but any plans of coming down before the end of the year?
Yeah, so I'll be there for the this week for the A&M game, and either I should be back for the Tennessee, or I might come back the week after and play this weekend. Come to Missouri, but yeah, I've come in 2 more times.
Joe, any other questions you got? I'm going to see if there's any more questions over here for Pup and Susan. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Railroad Barbecue is very good, very good. And they got a. I know he's at SC State, but we got to give shout out to Buddy Pugh. There's a poster Buddy Pugh in there too. Anytime you have a restaurant of Buddy Pugh inside, Buddy Pugh's such a great man, Pup. You'll get to know Buddy, even though he's SC State. Buddy Pugh's a staple of the state of South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But I guess, Pup, my last question was, you've mentioned like repeatedly that when you're recruiting other players, you're looking for like good guys, and you've always brought out that they're good guys. And I mean, we know what Shane teaches about culture and stuff. How big of a factor in your commitment was the culture, and what do you like about what's brewing here?
Yeah, so the culture was 100% of my commitment, and the people there. It's not a lot of places that you go that you'll meet all different levels of the staff. For example, I'm real close with Kristen, the nutritionist, and that's going to be a big part of, how well I do in college is how much weight I can put on, how I can stay healthy, how I can stay fast, just what I'm putting inside. And she's great. I love her, and I know that we work well together. Coach Dave, the strength coach, he reminds me so much of my head coach. And when I met Coach Dave, I felt at home. Coach White, DC linebacker coach. I mean, he's doing great things with the defense, and I just want to be that guy that makes sure that he's undoubtedly the best linebacker coach in the country, and undoubtedly that I'm the best linebacker in the country. So I know we're going to work well together, and nobody will want to play for a different head coach. Coach B. Like I said, when I committed, he jumped into my arms. So that's the type of player. I mean, the type of coach that he is, and the type of relationship we have.
Awesome. Pup, we'll wrap things up in a little bit here. You've been very gracious with your time. We got Brian. I don't know if this question's been asked, and I apologize if it's already been asked in the past by one of my coworkers, Wes or Chris. But any plans to enroll early? I don't know. I know it's funky sometimes in different places where you are, but do you have any plans on doing that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm enrolling.
You are enrolling early. Okay. And I apologize. That question's probably been asked like a million times. Great job, Mike, of being able to mention. Yeah. I do want to ask you this, Pup, before we wrap things up here. You're seeing how things are playing out right now, and you get to see it from a very unique perspective, right? I know the conversations probably aren't as much, but I'm sure you're still getting text messages occasionally from Beamer and this coaching staff. But I bring that up because on the outside, not every fan, but I think a majority of them, they look at it from a win-loss standpoint. They're seeing what's going on. They saw what happened last year. They were able to get to 7 wins. They saw where the program was a couple years prior. You're getting to see it from a different perspective. Is there anything that stands out to you as you're going through this process? Because, yeah, you know, and there's probably still something you mentioned. There's probably still some teams that are reaching out to you, trying to recruit you. But what's really stood out to you? I mean, we talk about, and it's probably going to steal your answer, about just that family atmosphere and just how the realness. But is there anything in particular outside of those two things that we hear so much of? Not saying they're not important, but is there anything else that stands out to you about what Shane Beamer and this program is doing right now that really makes you say, hey, I want to be part of that?
Absolutely. One thing is, you know, of course, the culture and the people that's there. Like I've helped build this recruiting class, and I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't like get up and leave and nothing like that. This is my family. Besides that, the wins and the losses. This team a couple years ago wouldn't beat Kentucky. They wouldn't have been able to overcome adversity like that. All this good stuff. I know Coach Beamer is doing great. It's everything that goes into it. For example, just a little thing. Well, the big things. Justin King. You're not gonna find a media professional like Justin to be able to cover a university like that. So just stuff like that'll be able to help me, help my team. You know, push us over the edge. Like I said, if you have the right players at the right place at the right time with the right head coach, magic's going to happen. And I'm bringing the right players, and we're going to be at the right place at the right time, and Coach Beamer is going to be the right head coach for us.
Do you feel like this is a player-led program? Because that's something Dante mentioned, and how that is something that he's trying to use as a sale pitch to some of these other recruits.
Absolutely. I feel like, you know, Coach Beamer is a players coach, so he's going to, you know, care about us deeper than what we do on the field, and be able to mold what we do to our strengths and all that good stuff. I'm not saying that, you know, of course it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, it's going to be mentally challenging, and that's what college football is. Because if it's not, that's not the right place to be. But like I said, the staff is wonderful, and we have all the right people in all the right places.
Well, Pup, I appreciate you hopping on with us, buddy. Maybe I'll see you down there this Saturday, but safe travels. You have a game Friday night, or are you guys off this week?
Yes, sir. We have a homecoming this Friday.
All right. Any chance of being the homecoming king, though? I mean, we see it sometimes with players. No on the running?
I didn't run for homecoming court.
That's all right. Hey, you're focused. You're focused on the team. You're focused on the state title. I get it. I get it. Pup, appreciate you, buddy. And, again, safe travels down to South Carolina, or up to South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
This week.
I really appreciate you for having me.
No problem, Pup. Pup Howard, once again, hopping on with us.